Welcome to Bloody Good Horror, covering the best and worst of the horror genre since Halloween 2007. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello everybody and welcome to another exciting episode of Bloody Good Horror. My name's Eric and I'll be your host for this evening, where we will be reviewing the Purge election year. Because Joe, I hear there's an election coming up.
I hear that this one actually has some sort of election going on.
Rumor has it. Joining me tonight, first up, he's the beer aficionado at Bloody Good Horror. Also, the loneliest Mets fan living in Chicago. His name is Joe.
That's not true. I work with two.
Do they have like Mets bars where you guys just hang out together?
There is one. I've yet to go to it, but there is one, like lowly, like New York bar.
Wah, wah. Next up on the show, High Priestess of Books and Reading at Bloody Good Horror. She also runs the BGH Book Club, a huge hit with the BGH fans. Her name is Cece.
Hello.
Do Cece and Joe have some stuff to work out on the show after the last time Cece was on?
What?
After your feud started?
After the pregnancy thing went way too far.
God. I mean, that happened, and then I got really hammered on the show. So, I think we should come in on the clean slate.
I think Cece had some demons to work out. I don't think I had anything to do with that.
Hey, don't we all? Last up tonight, joining me, it's Ladies' Night here at BGH, and also BGH the new class night. Her name is Sophie.
Hey, friends.
Ready to purge.
Always.
Yeah, so a little bit of an abbreviated show tonight. Mark did want me to reflect that he really wanted to make it and was bummed out that he couldn't. I think he just wanted me to not make fun of him for not showing up.
They had to take his pup to the doctor.
Yeah, he
That's
had a legit reason.
Yeah.
Schnars, who knows what's going on with him?
I reached out to him to
It's
make
too
sure
close to home.
Yeah.
to make sure he wasn't gonna make it, and I just haven't heard anything. So
Yeah.
I assume he's at whatever weird retreat Cece was talking about over the email.
He's at Bohemian Grove. That's why he can't make it.
Yeah.
It's okay. We can still talk about it because I've done plenty of research.
So this apparently over the weekend in Boston, so the mechanism through which this happened was unclear, but apparently the PSA that they play when the purge starts was played over the intercom on a MBTA train.
That was amazing.
And some parents were not super happy, and I guess the original thought was that they had bought advertising, but it turned out to seem more like just some T driver who thought it'd be really funny. Either way, kind of amazing.
I can't believe you didn't hear more about that.
Yeah, I'm surprised that was kind of the only incident.
Yeah.
Because I feel like before, with the other, especially with the first, or I guess with the second one, because it was after the first, that there were more incidences of that.
I mean, people got murdered in Chicago a lot.
Well,
I mean,
that's true.
That could have been a tie-in, and just we didn't know about it.
Jesus.
The mother who was all pissed off about it was specifically saying that it really freaked her kid out when they were like, murder is legal.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh God, I'm sorry.
I'm not sure that had I heard it.
No, I'm not
like,
saying.
Oh, that's really funny.
I'm not saying that's not a reason to get mad. I'm just saying, yeah, it's kind of funny.
Imagine if that kid just dropped his bag and took out a knife and started going stabby on everyone.
Well, I have been thinking about this for a while now.
He just screams in the sky, finally.
Oh, purgingness. So that led to me having to explain to a bunch of normies
what the purge
what
was.
the purge is, and then also what could have been, because the second somebody said it to me, I'm like, oh, I know what happened. It's the PSA. Of course, because it sounds so official, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And it turns out that was true. So
When I was at the movie theater earlier this weekend seeing something else and heard a bunch of people discussing what the purge was, who obviously had not seen it and had no intention of seeing it, and it was a bunch of older women, and the one woman just goes, is the purge the idea that all of the good people kill all of the bad people? Because I don't really understand. And I was just sitting there
oh, sweetheart. Oh.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Yes, honey, that is what it's about. It's a very positive message for today's youth. It definitely doesn't get today's youth worked up into a frothy murder boner after they leave the theater. Joe almost murdered somebody for a candy bar once. I'm sure of it.
Well, I was a rotund child.
Jesus.
Sorry, that was a fancy pen or something. Fancy pens Joe used to steal.
Oh yeah, fountain pens for
Yeah.
sure. I'm sure there was some candy. Oh yeah, we used to. You might remember this place. Do you remember there was like a gas station near, not far from like your place?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They used to sell candy there, and I remember we used to like just go there, and you could like steal it right under the guy's nose. And so yeah, we have stolen candy.
Huh.
I'm sure your brother
Interesting.
partook with me at some point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I ever stole candy. I definitely stole a Pog once.
I stole
What?
some erasers once.
Yeah.
A
Remember
pog?
remember
Just a
Pogs?
pog?
Yeah.
A
I
single
hope it
pog?
was like the slammer pog. Like I hope it was worth it and it wasn't just like the cardboard. Like it needed to be like a metal pog.
That's impressive.
Cool. So what else going on? 4th of July weekend. Do anything exciting, Joe?
No, we suburbed it up big time.
Very nice.
There was a carnival in our town. I mowed the lawn.
Do you
did some
like
water?
Do you like goddamn firecrackers? Because that's your right as an American.
We had the sparklers. That's about the extent of it.
Yeah.
We haven't given the 5-year-old like full on explosives just yet.
Well, you never know. You
Yeah,
know,
it was a
that's-
beautiful time though.
Yeah, exactly. Anybody else? Sophie, did you do anything exciting?
We had friends in town, so our friend that was visiting made an American flag out of Jello shots.
Nice.
Nice.
And then I put together a power hour where the national anthem played every 10 minutes and you had to do a Jello shot, and then the rest of it was just regular power
Wow.
hour.
Wow.
That kind of sounds like how True American should really be played.
Oof.
It was pretty great. And basically we did like half of the power hour, and then we went to see Independence Day, and then we came home and did the other half. So
How was Independence
was-
Day? I heard that was terrible.
it was pretty awful.
Yeah, we were talking about doing a show. I think we still might. I'm not positive yet. We got to kind of powwow after this show and kind of decide, I guess, what we're gonna do. But I would like to see it. But
It's
you know.
playing at the local drive-in this weekend, and I think we're gonna go see it.
Yeah, I mean, I just like an excuse to see big dumb movies at least once a
Yeah.
summer. You know.
It definitely was that. I mean, I wouldn't say it was not enjoyable to watch. I don't know that y'all would have a lot to talk about, but
Yeah. Goldblum, his various levels of Goldbluminess throughout the film.
yeah, but he wasn't in it enough. That was my biggest complaint.
Really?
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
Too bad.
that's
Yeah.
disappointing.
That's weird.
Gold Bluebian.
What else is going on? Cece, is there a book club happening right now?
Yes. There's still time to start it.
Explain
the
to our
first
listeners how our book club works.
The book club is on Goodreads, which all you have to do is go to Goodreads and you can search for Bloody Good Horror, and we're just a group on there. And this month we're reading The Shuddering by Ania Alborn.
Mm,
And we actually read Within These Walls last year, which everyone seemed to really enjoy. So we are trying another one of her books. And the first section doesn't discuss until like Sunday or Monday of next week. So you still have time if you want to get in on it.
Nice.
Is that Enya, the same one who sang all those songs from like the
Yeah.
90s?
I was gonna say,
From
yes,
Pure,
it's the same
Pure
one.
Moods.
Yeah, like in my head, I'm trying to think of like the lyrics to an Enya song, and I can.
Sail away.
Okay,
sail
yes.
away.
I was
There you
gonna
go.
say I can feel the Enya. I know what the Enya song feels like,
Yeah.
but I can't. They're just they're so airy and like
Remember there was that
non-existent.
whole album, Pure Moods, that they
God.
sold.
Pure mood.
They had Enigma on there.
Enigma.
Return to innocence. Oh yeah, oh. Had that video where everything went backwards. It was awesome.
Oh, wow.
Joe, do the whole album now.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's what this whole episode needs to be.
They had that weird, sexy song, the Some Damn
I've been going back on YouTube. Speaking of like '90s things, and this was actually like early 2000s. Any you guys ever watch the show Bands on the Run? It was like this really short-lived reality show on VH1 with like, but it was like early reality days, like just post Survivor, so it was very like lo-fi, kind of put together on the fly kind of thing, and but
Rings
it's
a
just
bell.
like it's 4 bands like touring together, trying to like out earn each other, but they just like they're unsigned bands, so they're just fighting to try to sell CDs and get people to go to their shows, and it's actually really great. It's all on YouTube. But it was just something I used to watch back in the day. Something reminded me of it. But it cracked me up because they all have pagers.
Oh God.
Like they get in
Wow,
contact
back
with
in the
them.
day.
They get in contact with them through their pagers, and then they have to go find a phone booth
Like
to
that.
call them. So
Did any of you have pagers?
Absolutely.
I totally did. Yeah.
Nope. I didn't have. I mean, I'm a little younger, so my first cell phone was a Nextel,
What do
and that
you
was like my first foray into cell phones.
What do you mean you're a little younger? What is that supposed to mean?
Yeah. What?
No, I'm just
What's
I
that?
was
Well,
gonna say
I mean,
that's the cutoff for the new classes. The new class, none of us ever had.
Did you
pagers.
have a pager? Yeah. So
No, I never had a pager.
Peep Paging was the name of the place, and I paid like $7.99 a month, I think, for my paging plan.
Yeah. I had a person at my office today. For some reason, the topic of like, what's the first like big like news memory do you have? And someone asked me if I remember the moon landing.
What?
Some
Yeah.
young asshole asked you that.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. And then after they're like, I was thinking of something else. I was thinking, like, do you really think I'm 60? Like,
Fucking moon landing.
sons of bitches.
Where were you when the picture started talking?
Yeah.
That sort of thing. Yeah, paging was funny, and then I remember like I had one friend who got the first cell phone of our group. So, but it was the worst for him because then everyone with the pager wanted to use his cell phone to call their person back. And the other thing about the late 90s that I forgot about was like I'm watching all these commercials, and all the cell phone commercials, they're bragging about how many nighttime or weekday minutes you get. And I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh, remember when you had to like worry about minutes and shit?
Nights and weekends.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, the worst.
Mm-hmm.
My first cell phone was actually a track phone,
Nice.
which is
What does that mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
What is that?
it's like it was like the original prepaid. Like they used signals from other people's cell towers and stuff. It was the
Got it.
worst.
Yeah.
It was awful. Anyway, speaking of old things, John Carpenter said The Walking Dead is a ripoff of Night of the Living Dead this weekend.
That was a
Yikes.
really
Or
good
this week.
segue.
It
I'm
was
impressed.
totally unplanned, but
Very, very good.
no,
I was
don't know.
petrified that was the segue into my beer thing.
It was just
Speaking
just
of old things, Joe, what are we drinking this
like
week?
I never read horror news, but it was the one thing that like permeated my consciousness this week because every like mainstream site reprinted this story.
It's like saying like every zombie. Like,
It is. Well, the other
movie or
funny
show.
thing is too, he was kind of taken out of context because he does say something about The Walking Dead, but it's actually in a much larger quote where he's basically saying like we need to stop making these cliched ghost and supernatural films, which listeners of the show might recognize as a point that Eric would agree with.
Mm.
But like, and then he has this little throw off line about The Walking Dead, and that was block quoted like fucking everywhere.
That's what they picked
Oh,
up
of
on.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and then it's got me thinking about like, you know, as much as I love Insidious and stuff, in 10 years, if you were to ask me to differentiate the plots of like Insidious, The Conjuring, and like name any of those movies, like there is no way I'm going to be able to tell you a plot point from any of those movies that's not just like a spooky thing happened.
I could not tell you the difference between Bagul and whatever the Insidious one is.
I mean, it takes me a minute to like think about it. I know that they're
Yeah, I don't know, you know, it's
Yeah.
like it's just and I don't blame James Wan for like striking while the iron is hot. Like if you're the dude who Hollywood just wants to pay you to make spooky horror films, like hey man, James Wan got to eat. I totally get it, but I feel like we need something new.
James wanna eat, huh?
James want to eat. Hey-o.
I'm sure I told this story on the podcast, but I remember trying to review, and now I don't even remember. I think I was reviewing Insidious 3, and when I went on the website that we used to get the backdrops for the top of our site, and I searched Insidious 3, all of the photos they had were from Sinister 2.
oh yeah, that's
And I
weird.
couldn't find any pictures to use.
That's like when you buy like a Friday the 13th on DVD or a Halloween and they use like a picture from a different movie, and I'm obsessive, so I've seen them so many times that I'm like, I will literally find you and murder you. I realize that's just a thing that I've experienced, but still,
That'll happen.
You obsessive? That doesn't sound
someone out there feels me. Just
A
saying.
return to innocence.
Hey Sophie, tweet with BGH. What's that all about?
So one Sunday a month, some members of the new class, namely Evan and Spencer and I, get together and invite our fans and fellow BGH writers to simultaneously watch a movie with us and tweet and make fun of it. So it's kind of piggybacking on the tradition of Riff Tracks or Mystery Science Theater, but in a much more broad geographical setting. So we are back on Sunday. We are doing a movie which is available on Netflix, and on Netflix the movie is called Killer Mermaid.
Oh,
Nice.
Go on.
If you try to find it on IMDb, it is called Nymph, and apparently the original title was Mamula, so I assume it is not an originally American film.
That sounds like a word I shouldn't be saying.
yeah.
It sounds interesting. It's about two young American women in the Mediterranean being attacked by crazy mermaids. So if that sounds intriguing to you, there will be a drinking game posted on BGH tomorrow, and then on Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern we will go live, and you can follow Evan, Spencer, and I, and the hashtag #TweetWithBGH.
Mm-hmm. I've been working all week, and I want my moolah.
Mm-hmm. Joe.
Yes, sir.
What are we drinking?
Oh man, we're drinking a beer this week to go with Purge, election day, election year, erection year.
Nope.
Anywho,
I guess that's close.
it's all for freedom, and for freedom, I picked a beer from the good folks at Surly Brewing Company in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And this is a beer that they just pushed out specifically for sort of the 4th of July, and this is hashtag America.
Wow.
Which is a thing. It's actually a collaboration beer they made with this band, the Dillinger 4, who I am not familiar with, but I feel like the kids might be. And it's an American lager. And what that means is they actually used sort of these like corn flakes in the brewing process. So for those of you not familiar, like a beer like Budweiser or Coors or whatever, it's what they call like an adjunct lager. So adjuncts are like anything that's not in like the traditional brewing process. So like Budweiser uses corn to kind of fill up, and it's a lot cheaper than using just all malt and barley in the brewing process. So it's a cheap way to make like cheap beer. But there's certain breweries that over the years have tried to like create a beer using like corn and things like that actually tastes really good, to kind of show that like, all right, well, you can make like an adjunct lager, you can make it taste really good. Dogfish did one a while back, and this one from Surly, they were released pretty widely, and I had it a few weeks back. It's very good. Comes in like a little sweeter than probably what you're used to from a beer, and that's definitely from like the corn, but has like a little bit of a hop bite, but definitely like a really good summer beer. Dogfish had the one they put out, they call like their Lawnmower Light. So it's a beer that, like in the hot sun, you're going to drink this and it's going to be refreshing. Only about 5% alcohol. So along the same lines as like your Budweiser and things like that. But again, like super, super good. So it would be like a really good beer to kind of introduce to, say, like your buddy who usually just drinks like the big three, or, like a Pabst or something. So
Damn it, Dave. Stop doing that.
So definitely pick it up if you see it. Everything Surly puts out is great. I wholeheartedly recommend their stuff. SurlyBrewing.com is their website. And for freedom.
When they put the corn flakes in the beer, does it help you sleep through the night better?
It does, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Fills you up. Keeps you.
Call back to the pre-show.
Keeps your tummy settled.
All right. Thank you for that, Joe.
Thank you.
You are a shining light in an otherwise bleak world.
Wow. Appreciate that.
No problem, buddy. All right, guys, let's take a quick break so that we can discuss Purge election year.
I'm going to have to be taking your car today. See, I have some top secret clown business that supersedes any plans that you might have for this here vehicle.
This is Diane Franklin from Better Off Dead with Bloody Good Horror.
This is it, Jennifer. Your big breaking TV. Up the front time, bitch. Main feature.
And we're back.
I love that the bumper for Diane Franklin, she mentions Better Off Dead and not like, Amityville 2 or anything like that. Any of like the horror movies she's been in.
Better Off Dead's kind of a horror movie, don't you think?
No, not at all. Have you seen it?
Isn't that the one where she's stuck in the weird town?
No.
No, what am I thinking of? With the car breaks down and it's the weird town and the dude's like, the judge is a monster.
Oh, you're thinking of Nothing But Trouble.
Oh, I always thought that. So I don't know what Better Off Dead is then.
Better Off Dead was the one with John Cusack.
Oh.
It came out around the same time as One Crazy Summer.
Ah, weird.
Yeah.
I don't
He's
know,
always coming at me with his testicles. She plays like a French foreign exchange student that comes to America and falls in love with John Cusack.
Was she also in
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure?
not Night of the Comet? Was that her?
No, I don't think you know anything about this woman.
Yeah, no, I don't. I agree that I don't.
Well,
So, yeah.
She was in all the Bill and Ted's. She was one of the girlfriends.
Oh, sorry, Lady Franklin. I apologize.
Yeah.
Hey, Cece,
yes.
did you go to Duke?
No.
Why not?
Oh, I got stuck at a lowly Georgia State College.
Are you
Ew.
are you aware of this Duke hospital that Schnars is always going on about?
No. My job that, I do on a daily basis just redid the Duke Convention Center, though. So that's about as close as I've been to Duke.
Are you a poor person?
Well, that
Yeah, I am.
that'll do.
Ew.
That'll do. You are, I would say, probably. I would say that Schnars is the fanciest person at BGH. I would say Andy and Shelton are like second and third, and then you are fourth.
Oh, okay.
So you
Nice.
are the fourth fanciest person at BGH. So with that,
I mean, top 5, though, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
oh yeah,
it's kind
that's
of okay.
listen, that's nothing to sneeze at. We got I was on Slack recently. We got like 45 people writing for us. So.
True. And I mean, that
Yeah.
says a lot because you also go mud bogging probably. So.
Frog gigging,
I've never been frog gigging, but I have been mud bogging before.
All right,
there you
well,
go.
let's not talk about that right now because it
Okay.
is time for the word of the day. What do you got for us tonight?
Well, I hope I do John justice. But the word today is ochlocracy,
Whoa.
which
Already better.
Nailed it.
which is a fancier word to say mobocracy, which basically means ruled by the mob or a particular group. And it means, or it's a situation where there is no accepted leadership outside of that group, and disputes are often settled by brute force or the sheer weight of that particular group.
Could we call it mobocracy? Because I kind of like that better.
Yeah, just put an extra O in there.
Mo money, mobocracy, baby.
I would bet money that John's word would have been election.
Purge.
I was trying to do right by him. I tried to find a good word.
I guarantee you that one of the first 2 movies, he just did the word purge.
Yeah.
Someone should
Oh,
go
for
back,
sure.
but there's no way he didn't.
Yeah.
Well, you got to make sure that us lowly poor people understand what's happening. And,
Exactly.
we all don't know what purge means.
Yeah.
All right,
I would say you
well-
did not do John right because you put effort into this.
Yeah.
Oh, whoops. I got too nervous and I had to actually find a word.
Thank
Moving up the
you.
fancy scale.
Thank you for that, CC. Is that the first time you've done the word of the day? I feel like I've had you do it before.
No, because last time I think we skipped it.
All right. Well, let's call that the first ever Southern Fried BGH word of the day.
I like it.
Nice. Mud bogging, frog gigging, word of the day.
Doing some word bugging.
Yeah. Gigging for words. All right, guys. The Purge 3.
Yep.
Election year. This is the 3rd Purge film, following
Yes.
2 other Purge films.
Mm-hmm.
We start off, we have a lady and her family. They're getting purged, and the guy's got a crazy mask on, real creepy, and he says, all right, we're going to play a game. Who survives the purge? And then the camera turns on the lady, so you're like, okay, it's the lady. Then we flash forward 20 years in the future. Lady has the same nerd glasses on. That's how you know she's the same person.
Well,
And-
he says mother's choice, so it's obvious that the
Right.
mom liked the daughter best.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be funny if it was the dog? Some families, I don't know. So she is now a U.S. senator who's running to be president of the United States of Purgica, or whatever this country's called now. And she's running against is it the NHHP or NHHA?
NFFA.
Yeah.
Say it again?
New Founding Fathers of America.
NFFA. Okay. So they've been in power since they quote unquote saved America, and it sounds like they just kind of put up their puppet candidate, and there's still elections being held.
Right.
but she has like garnered all the support. It's taken them by surprise. She's pulling neck and neck, and they show kind of a debate between the two of them, which like, well, we can talk about it. I have like a lot of thoughts on this universe that I think are funny, but so basically they announce as sort of a trying to counteract some of her populist message, but also with a little agenda to it. They announce, hey, no longer any government officials of any level exempt from the purge, which I guess I'm not sure if that's like a new detail we're getting here, that there were people exempt from the purge.
I think it was in the PSA in the first 2 movies.
Interesting. So now, but it's obvious right away, like, oh, they're gonna try to kill this senator lady because she's like coming up in their shizzle and messing their game up. So they do that. The just badass guy with amazing hair from Purge 2, I don't know his name. He is her head of...
Frank Grillo. Well, his real name is Frank Grillo.
Oh.
He's Crossbones from Captain America.
Of course it is. What a great name. So he is her head of security, and he, you know, likes her politics. He's been through some purginess himself, and he is basically setting out to try to protect her. This predictably goes awry immediately when a member of her security team kind of turns out to be a turncoat, and they have to flee. The key is that she won't stay in the safe house. She wants to like be of the people, and she's afraid that like if people see her hiding in this like ivory tower, that she's gonna lose that appeal. So she insists on doing it in her house on like 24 hours notice. You know, he's like, okay, we're gonna do everything, and somehow they install these like mega future security doors really quick, and
we'll do it live. But
it still goes wrong immediately. They escape through like a secret escape hatch that he's somehow built in 24 hours. And they're now out in the streets. And from Purge 2, we know what happens when people be out in the streets. Concurrently, we meet a deli owner. It's more like a bodega, I would call it, Joe, or like a convenience store.
I'd go with bodega.
I just assume you're like the bodega expert on this.
But he does make sandwiches.
He does, yeah. It's a bodega.
Which I bet are delicious.
It's a bodega with sandwiches. And he has a place. He's got a so he's a black guy. I say this because like obviously like race is big to like the politics of this film. He has another Hispanic guy kind of working under him, and a couple other people working for him, and they're just kind of tight knit group. We see a scene early on where these girls try to like shoplift some candy, and they get kind of booted out, and we learn that one of the is this woman the badass lady, is she from a previous purge, because I could not figure it out?
No.
Okay, but we learn that she has a past of being a purger,
Right.
because these young girls like really admire her, and they're all like, oh, you're awesome. But she's kind of cleaned up now, and what she does is she drives around basically a triage van, and picks up people and tries to bring them to a safe place to get medical care during the purge. So those are kind of our two groups, and predictably, in the most purgy way possible, they meet pretty early on in the film, and their fates become intertwined.
Will they, won't they?
Yeah, as we have come to expect from the Purge. So this is the third film in the series, I think smartly released on the 4th of July weekend. And yeah, so we'll go around here. Give me just your like base purging thoughts. And what you thought of this, Joe?
I will say I've progressively liked each Purge movie more. I definitely liked the first one, but I think my biggest, not complaint, but ask was to actually like sort of get out in the streets and actually see what was going on, which I think we got in the second one. And I liked the second one a good deal. But this one, I will say I probably liked the most out of the three, because I felt like it was the most over the top. And it really plays out as like an 80s like action movie to me. Like it's very reminiscent of the original Escape from New York, or even like The Warriors, or that sort of thing. And like those are the kind of movies I loved growing up as a kid.
Warriors.
Yeah. So I mean, the fact that it kind of harkened back to that really kind of had me.
It's got a real. All of these movies have a real, especially this two sequels, like low budget 90s action movie, which I really love about them.
Which is kind of what I love about them. Even down to the plot is so like top level. Like there's really not much depth to it. like to the fact that like the bad guys are like white supremacists. Like even that to me feels like a very sort of like 80s storyline. Like, you know, when's the last time you've seen like white supremacists as the bad guys in like any movie?
Well, they
like,
seem
past,
to
like,
be increasingly more popular these days. So
yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like I guess like the sort of kid in me who loved these movies really kind of clung on to this, and I liked it a lot.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Cece.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with Joe. I think that I kind of went in without any expectations. I had already kind of seen some people talking that it wasn't very good. And I liked the first installment. I didn't really care too much about the second one, even though I liked that they were in the streets. But I don't know, I really appreciated it having a more of like an action type theme throughout. And I mean, even though it was loosely tied to our politics of today, I think that, I don't know. I mean, I found it entertaining. I didn't get bored like I did during the second one. So overall, I enjoyed it.
Nice. Sophie.
So I'm going to come in, I think I said this over email too, I'm going to come in as the dissenting vote on this movie. A brief history of my Purge experience, watching the movies, not in real life. I was not a huge fan of
Yeah, boy.
and only watched the second one a few months ago when we podcasted it, and liked that one a lot. So this one, going in, I felt like I had lowered my expectations to a level that I was ready to really enjoy it. And to me, a lot of it felt like a retread of what the second movie did, but it felt less well done. I felt like there were less really cool set pieces than I saw in the second one, and I felt like the things they were trying to say about race and class got a lot more convoluted in this movie in a way that didn't entirely make sense to me. So yeah, I still thought it was enjoyable for what it was, but I think even with my lowered expectations, I was not really a fan of this movie.
There is like some kind of random purginess, like crazy shit, but I will say nothing that equals flaming truck from Purge 2.
Yeah,
Of just like
yeah,
flying through the background of an unrelated scene was my favorite
Right.
thing.
That's
There is
true.
some
Although
there's some weird shit in this movie though that I liked a lot.
Yeah, I know that we kind of talked about it earlier on email, but I think that talking about set pieces, I know we all kind of enjoyed the millennial girl gang that shows up blaring Miley in their Christmas light covered car. And I
Which
thought
was
that
amazing.
yeah. I thought that was a pretty good situation. Although I agree with Sophie, she kind of said it in the email that they really could have utilized them a lot better. Like
Yeah.
it was a very throwaway scene to have built up so much.
I did
Well, and it was-
request to Joe over email that if we ever purge personally, that we get a car covered in Christmas lights and rock out to Party in the USA. Just on
yes.
repeat.
Absolutely.
Like, I mean, that scene to me though, like, and obviously there's not a lot of payoff, but the setup, that's like to me what the Purge does great is like just silly iconography and the way that the people like fetishize the masks and the like American-ness of purging. Like I like the way this movie kind of amped all that stuff up. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. I totally agree, although I do have to throw in that I found it very troubling that they, in the scene where those two characters are introduced, they established that they have them costumed in school uniforms,
Right.
which establishes they are high schoolers, and then the way that they are costumed and shot during the Purge is super creepy. I don't know why making them high schoolers was necessary, because
it's
they
more,
obviously were not actually high school age, and so it made it creepy to have them shot like so leeringly and like in slow motion, like up their legs.
I mean, I'm not agreeing with it, but just it makes it more shocking, right? Like I think part of the deal with this story is showing you how pervasive and like corrosive the Purge is in American culture, you know what I mean? So I think it's like it basically is like if you're old and you fear teenagers, they're just like, hey, what if we just confirm every fear? Like this kid doesn't get her candy bar and loses her shit.
I wish they wouldn't have tried to have it both ways. Like either try to make them sexy and psychotic or make them high schoolers, but don't try to do both, because that middle ground felt, maybe I'm the only one, it just felt like very creepy to me and I didn't like it.
I'll be honest, I'm assuming 95% of high school girls these days are like
would murder you for a candy
Yeah.
bar. Yeah.
and also dress provocatively.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, I honestly was more distracted by the actress's not great acting.
Yeah, I was
so
like,
that was kind
yeah.
of my
There was a
But
lot of
You know,
spit coming
never
out of her
closed her
mouth.
mouth.
yeah. It's like, but anyway, it was fine. Like it's kitschy, right? And that's kind
Yeah,
of like
right.
the appeal of these movies. I will say, like, so I was, I might be the like rare person who really enjoyed the first Purge, but I agreed with everyone else that like, okay, if you're gonna do another one, like, let's go outside, let's get in some Purge shit and see what happens. So I really enjoyed the second one. We just did that like a couple months ago, kind of in preparation for this. I like that a lot. I really enjoyed this third film too. I think when the third film shines is when in the second half, when it starts getting into some kind of heavier into the resistance, sort of like that was kind of the part of like the best about the second film, when that group kind of busted in and saved everybody. But that's like this tangential plot thread in the second film that only really comes into the end. There's more of it in this film, and I like that. Where I'm a little bored in the beginning is where I'm seeing the shop owner and I'm seeing people like nailed down for the Purge, and like, not that it wasn't bad, and I actually think they did an admirable job of drawing some real characters with those people
Right.
and their interactions. It's a little predictable, like you kind of know
Yeah.
what's going to happen at the end with some of the characters.
I mean,
Which we can talk
I think
about, but,
Sophie talked about it over email. It's like, we've seen this 2 times before.
Yeah,
At this
like-
point, I don't need to know.
Yeah.
like, give me the political stuff
Right.
and then just like let's get to the Purge, you know what I mean? But I actually don't think it lingers on that stuff too long. I think that's just me kind of looking for something. I think that like once there's some great gunfight stuff in this movie. I am a longtime supporter and champion of movie shotguns, and there's an amazing friggin' movie shotgun in this movie, just
Yeah, yeah.
great, blowing people away. There's a lot of good street creeping, as I like to call it, which is where they're sort of skulking from set piece to set piece, trying not to get caught by some purgers. There's great use of a drone. Some purging
yeah.
people have
Yeah.
a drone that's following them. You know, and I think like if another, it's not really a complaint because I enjoy this part of it, but as we said in the second film, the more layers of the onion you peel away from this universe, the less anything makes sense. And they get so deep into the politics and the election and like the resistance. And it's like, when you start really getting into, when you're watching a debate between the two candidates, you're like, this is so insane. They're like, this Purge guy just has the support of like so many people. And like, okay, maybe arguably nowadays, maybe it's not.
I
as
was like,
insane.
I don't know that it's really all that strange anymore.
I get it, but
okay,
also,
for
but
the sake of this conversation.
but they're also drawn as like these hilariously over the top cartoon villains. Like they're basically like evil vampire Nazi racists, and it's like it's for a B film. It's the perfect like foil, right? But
Right.
and it's not even a problem. Like I said, I kind of enjoy it, but it's a thing that I notice of just like, this is so silly at some point.
Well, I mean, I know that we kind of talked about it at the pre-show, but like, and I know that I like to harp about conspiracy theories and stuff, but I mean, I do appreciate that at least if they were going to have it mirror our contemporary politics right now, that they did highlight a little bit on the invisible hand behind our politics, and that
Yeah.
was kind of what motivates these people rather than just, it didn't just happen. It's kind of always been there.
Yeah.
So I thought that was neat. And I mean, they sacrifice people in a church, which is like not only sacrilegious to a lot of people, but I mean, it's
that thread really fascinates me because they lean into it super heavily here. The
Right.
way that the Purge and the idea of the purging as an American ideal has basically like all but replaced religion.
right. Yeah. And I
Right.
mean, and if you want to go into it, like, you can kind of say that our country has never really been built on religion, but has been built on that type of like mindset. So it's cool to see that, that trope kind of turned on its head in a very obvious way.
Yeah.
It was super creepy. Like I really like that sort of portion too. Especially, what is it? Like, I look like Crispin Glover. I have no idea who he was.
Oh,
but
yeah,
the,
The priest, he was
Yeah.
Yeah.
terrifying.
I this other thought I had is like, we had the question a couple weeks ago about if there was a purge, like what would you steal or whatever, and then we kind of got in a discussion of like, well, there really aren't a lot of looters. And I found myself wondering about that. Like, every crime is legal. So, like, there was kind of some, like, creepy, rapey stuff in the second film. But I wonder about, like, vandalism and stealing stuff. There's this amazing scene where some dudes in an apartment have just set up, like, a medieval, like, swinging axe thing. And, like, they're not even actively killing people. They're just waiting to see if somebody accidentally stumbles into it. And when they just miss it, they're just laughing hysterically. And they're like, "Good luck tonight."
Yeah, like
that was awesome.
Super messed up.
Yeah, that was so amazing. But
I
like,
feel like that was like it was a hidden gem. Like I appreciated
totally.
that. Like,
and this movie does do that stuff like in a fun way, like that and the drone and like the girls in the car. I don't know. I guess maybe the threat of murder keeps your like low-level criminals who just want to mess shit up.
Well,
away.
I mean, because even the bodega owner, like, I mean, he pulls down a grate or whatever in front of his shop. So I guess like your low-level criminals aren't gonna risk the effort of stealing stuff, knowing that, like you said, they're gonna be murdered or chopped up.
Yeah, I would love
But
to
they
know
must
where.
to some extent, because the whole thing that motivates that bodega owner to like not be in his
That's
house
true.
is he's worried about his shop getting broken into.
Yeah, I just feel like they maybe the streets always seem so dead, where I would maybe expect more looters or something, but but maybe not. I don't know. Maybe like I said, I mean, you could get murdered, so
Yeah, that's
Getting a
fair.
free TV might not be worth it.
I would love to know where 17-year-old girl gets like a plate gold AK-47 from, but that's I guess a discussion for another time.
Amazon,
Yeah,
Internet.
probably.
You'd bedazzle that shit.
Yeah.
the dark web.
I gotta give like major props here. I like the actress a lot. I don't know if I recognize her, the main senator lady.
I have no idea who she was either.
I feel like she looked familiar, but I don't know why.
But I bet there's a website where I can
But
look that
I
up.
gotta say, like once again, in a almost well, there's not that it's a smaller role, but he's got more people to share screen with. Frank Grillo, this guy is an American badass. He's like Jason Statham if he was way prettier.
I couldn't tell you one word he said in this film though. But yeah,
he
I
is
liked him a
so
lot.
great, and like I could see him going back in a time machine to the '90s and starring in every one of those direct-to-video movies.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was getting more high-profile stuff. Like you said, he was in the Avengers.
Yeah, he was in
Civil
he was
War.
in Winter Soldier and Civil War.
Yeah, he's just awesome, and he's kind of exactly the sort of throwback kind of action dude you want in a movie like this.
Yeah,
This
I
gal,
think,
she was on Lost apparently.
She's
Juliet.
also in that new show, Dead of Summer, on
oh, nice.
ABC Family,
Nice.
an 80s horror TV show.
She was in the Santa Claus 2,
Oh, nice.
the second one, not the first one. Oh, she was in part 3 also.
Santa
Hang on.
Claus 2, the second one.
So yeah.
Were there any other kind of set pieces that you guys enjoyed?
I appreciated that they kind of mentioned, which you know, we're talking about it also on email, like where would the next Purge movie go? But I really appreciated that this movie kind of, I mean, we saw a glimpse of how the Purge affects the rest of the world, because a really big, you know, kind of info dump at the beginning is that you have all of these murder tourists coming to America for the day to purge, and you see this group of people who had really great throwback patriotic costumes, I have to say, who like came in from East Europe and were just wanting to murder people.
Yeah, that was such a fucking cool idea.
I thought it was really well done too.
Yeah.
I kind of wish I would have seen more of it.
Yeah.
And they kind of come back later on in the film and like are a threat at some point, and it's like there's something really terrifying about like young German people dressed up like the murder Statue of Liberty with like knives getting ready to murk someone. Like that's and they're screaming like, "We love America!" You know, it's like
We're here to cut you up, Americans.
I don't know if I'd heard that. It might not be so terrible.
We're very excited to be in your country and enjoy your purges.
purges and schnitzels. You know.
I really liked the shop owner. I'm gonna be honest right now.
Yeah, so that
Sure.
guy's a character actor. I've seen him in a ton of movies, but I couldn't.
He
tell
was
you his
on
name.
Justified, which I'm currently watching, and he was awesome on that.
I also really liked Badass Shotgun Lady. She was pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, Lainey.
You know, if anything, the only actors I thought were kind of weak aside from the
he
girls.
played Bubba. He was Bubba Gump.
Oh, okay, that's how I know.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
Wait,
Uh,
that's
who that
Bubba
is.
Gump?
Yeah.
Get the hell out of here.
The other one is Yeah, like I thought that the rebel leader people were all like really shitty actors. I don't know why they just like it seemed like they just
Oh,
had
yeah.
extras in those roles for some reason.
Yeah, a
Like
little
they
bit.
were that kind of bad. But what are you gonna do?
Does anybody remember what happened to the leader of the rebellion? Because he obviously was not in this movie.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
God.
they mention his name that like that this new guy replaced him or is like the new him or something.
Right.
they
Did
don't
something
re-
happen to him in the second movie, or are we? I guess maybe the actor just didn't want to be in it.
Yeah, I don't think anything did happen to him that
Okay.
I can recall.
I didn't think so either, but I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I don't know.
I now have pictures of Purge ladies over both of your guys' videos since it's
Oh,
not working
good.
really well, so.
Since our internet is slacking.
Sophie, you are Purge Betsy Ross.
Oh.
and,
Nice.
And
I'll take it.
And Cece, you are Purge Statue of Liberty with neon face lights. So
Yes, she was my favorite.
there you go, nailed it. Yeah, it's funny. Like now that I'm really thinking back on the movie, all the picture I keep getting in my head is the girls rolling up in that friggin'
Oh, yeah,
Christmas
for
tree
sure.
car. Like
I mean, that was amazing.
I almost
Yeah,
kind of
car.
feel like that's the thing I'm gonna remember from this movie, and it's like I said, it's the thing these movies do the best, and it's like cut like a music video, and they're trying to saw the door down so there's sparks flying, literally
Mhm.
like a music video. They do a great job with the masks in this movie, and they even kind of give a nod to a mask store owners, like get your masks. He's like for the Purge,
Yeah, he
Yeah.
says the Purge
The
is
Purge
Halloween.
is Halloween.
Yes.
Yeah,
adults.
for adults.
The
yeah.
Purge is Halloween for adults, yeah, which is awesome. And like the only thing I feel like they're missing is, and it's because of copyright, but people would be wearing, Jason Voorhees masks and Michael Myers masks.
Oh,
That would
that's-
be kind of awesome to have in this,
Mhm.
like, or George Bush or something. You know what I mean? And people I think would be using a lot more public figures, but obviously they can't. They probably can't do that in the movie. But
Although I do have to say, like, I know it was in the trailer, but the scene of the Lincoln Memorial with Purge written on the columns, like that's it was a pretty well done,
Oh yeah.
like,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
Yeah.
cut
definitely.
back.
So let's talk about the ending, I guess. Let's give a spoiler alert.
Oh.
Spoilers. So it kind of builds up. They end up at some point finding the senator and kidnapping her. Do we call BS, by the way, on tracker bullets?
That
that's
part
a
didn't
thing.
bother me. But I want to know how it's March in DC. Everyone else has a jacket, and this girl's running around in
Oh
a
my God.
super flipsy jacket, and shirt with no jacket.
Does it
If
get
my wife has one pet peeve on TV shows, it's when it's supposed to be the winter and they're walking around in like short sleeve t-shirts.
would it be that cold in DC in March, like
Yes.
compared to
Yes,
the
Yeah.
Northeast?
Snowing.
Listen,
But I guess maybe it's an alternate universe where like global warming has ruined all of our seasons,
Listen.
and like she just doesn't care. I don't
Listen.
know.
No one gets cold anymore.
I grew up in basically Canada, so you're gonna have to sell me a little
Yeah.
more.
Okay,
on
but whatever. But I'm with your wife, Joe. Like that really, really bothers me.
Drives her insane. Have you guys ever watched Meet the Goldbergs?
Mm-mm.
No.
Mm-mm.
Most of it takes place like in the winter and it's in Philadelphia and everybody's still walking around in just like, shorts and whatever.
Oh yeah.
Why does
That
it
would
mostly
drive me
take place
crazy.
in winter?
There's a lot of like, I don't know. There's no specific reason.
I
There's
saw-
a lot of like Christmas episodes and stuff, but meanwhile, there's like no snow on the ground.
I saw the first few episodes. I remember it was pretty funny.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, funny.
We should talk about that next week.
So anyway, they kidnap her. They take her to the church. They're gonna sacrifice her to do their little old white people ritual. All of the founding. This is bad, like government contingency, by the way, because they have every single member of the new founding fathers in this church, including the current president and the guy running for president, and
Yeah.
everyone else. And they're gonna do their purging. But in this kind of twist, like the rebels know about this church, and they discovered that it was built on top of this other old church that the original founding fathers built, and they built escape tunnels. So they're going to be able to tunnel their way in and save her. They team up with Frank Grillo and our kind of people that we've been following, and they go in for the save. And kind of a pretty sweet gunfight ensues.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And they managed to capture the candidate, and she's been really adamant this whole time, like, look, because she finds out earlier they're going to assassinate him, and she's like, you will turn him into a martyr and I'll lose this election. Like, by the way, don't murder him, just I'll lose the election if you murder him. But
Yeah,
just,
that's
we're splitting hairs here, but So the guy eventually, kind of in your penultimate moment, says like, "You better win," and he hands him over. So, and then it picks back up, and she won on election day. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know where the universe kind of goes from here, but any thoughts on the ending?
Well, there was like a blurb, like a voiceover saying that like people are now rioting
Yeah.
because the purge
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
over. So I got to imagine that's kind of where they're going to take part 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was
Right.
thinking. I mean, I thought the ending, it was wrapped up nicely. I mean, I don't know that I necessarily enjoyed it, but I don't really know how it would have ended any other way, and I would have enjoyed it unless maybe they both died. So, I mean,
It was kind of
what it
nice to
was.
see a little bit of resolve, like
True.
you know, to
Yeah.
start a trilogy in a universe where this effed up stuff is happening, and then to see it kind of resolve is nice. Maybe a little, although you know, like it was just the election, like she hasn't actually been able to abolish the purge yet. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's
I mean, it would have been interesting if she lost, like just flat out lost.
Yeah.
right.
yeah,
Because it does seem like a lot of people are into this thing.
yeah. Well, but now you can kind of, but you've told 3 stories. You're already retreading a lot, Like I said, you could have kind of like splinter political groups trying to bring it back. You could have riots. You could have, you know, full on coups attempted, stuff like that, you know? So,
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where they take it.
I mean, anybody happen to look at the box office? I guess I can pull it up here quick.
I forget what I think it was only made for like 10 million. That's what like Box Office Mojo said, which is, you know, not much. And I think it already made back. Like it came in like 4th, I think, this weekend. So not like great, but I mean, it's definitely going to make its money back if it hasn't already.
I wonder if they'll wait a while though. Like, I mean, it's been a trilogy, so it's been pretty consistent in coming out, or with releases. So I wonder if they'll like wait a while and then bring it back, or if they'll just kind of.
So the Purge election year came in 3rd if you count from the 1st to the 4th, which is like the long holiday weekend. Came in 3rd. Nowhere the BFG was like 15,000 behind it, 15 million. It was shot for 10 million, so it made triple its budget with 36 million. So,
I mean, that's pretty impressive for 10 million. There was a lot of.
And yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, we've
things
seen
going on.
We saw something recently that had like 4 actors in it that was shot for like 25 million, and I remember being like, "What?" But yeah, so. But I think that doing it on the cheap gives it kind of that fun, kitschy feel.
Yeah.
Oh,
for
sure. Definitely.
I do really enjoy when these movies come out talking to normies about them, because I feel like they're just so bewildered and kind of oddly frightened by the whole thing. Like, which it's kind of, you know, it's a pretty frightening concept, but it's just fun. I always like that.
Yeah. Agreed.
All right.
Is there a movie guide? Did we see
Yeah,
it?
there is a movie guide actually. It's fucking
God.
It's long.
What does it say? This is hell reincarnate.
Oh my god, it's long. I don't know if I can read all of it, but let's see. So my
You
favorite
can do it.
My favorite thing I always forget, except when I fill in for Mark, is that they use acronyms for everything.
Oh god.
So then there's, in parentheses, there's literally like 20 acronyms at the beginning. It says BB, PP, ACAC, CC, FR, PC, CO.
Wait, Cece was in this movie?
LLL,
I was.
VVV,
Discreetly.
LLL, VVV, S, N, A, D, and MM.
What?
I'm so confused.
I think that should just be the.
So
You should just stop there.
strong moral. So movie guide, they review movies for objectionable content, for delicate religious sensibilities, I guess, and we find it funny because we're horrible people. This guy says strong moral worldview combined with pro-American anti-statist elements, explicitly opposing political violence and stressing mercy, nonviolence. I don't know if this is the bad part. Nonviolence, a constitutional democracy, risking your life to help others, including victims and potential victims of violent criminals, and risking your life to help America and its principles of true liberty as opposed to a false liberty, against a cabal of warped leaders trying to establish more totalitarian control of America by God damn with the run-on sentences.
Dear Lord.
By assassinating its main political opponent. Images of a baby Jesus statue and a Sacred Heart Jesus portrait during a couple positive moments, including one where a character has sacrificially offered his life to save another person.
Oh.
And a villain speaking in a church says people say Jesus died for their sins, but he then goes on to present his false religious notions of purging yourself of evil within you by murdering other people. Though he's the villain, his words may confuse some susceptible viewers. Oh, that's extra, you know, editorializing there.
This sounds like they're sort of 50-50 on it. Like,
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it doesn't sound all that bad.
But I totally imagine that this kind of worldview is totally baffling to them. They don't know what to think about it. Well, they hate black people, but then they like murder people in a church, so I'm not sure. Here we go. Here's where it gets good. Marred by a couple politically correct leftist moments or ideas where one opponent to the totalitarian leaders couches his depiction of the totalitarian leaders in leftist terms, sounding like a Marxist communist class and race warfare theme. Most, if not all, of the leading government villains seem to be white. Do they seem to be? That's interesting.
I was going to say, I don't think there was any diversity in the church pews.
And the main opponent...
No, none at all.
Yeah.
The main opponent to the totalitarian leaders briefly attacks the NRA in one line of dialogue, at least 89 obscenities, including many F-words, 4 or 5 strong profanities, and 4 light profanities. Lots of very strong violence with some blood and gore. Includes people shot, sometimes point blank, and stabbed. People covered in blood, a lot or a little. Some scenes where villains are killed are meant to elicit cheers from the audience. A long-distance shot of someone purposely being decapitated by a guillotine that's surrounded by corpses. We forgot about the guillotine.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Oh, yeah.
People tied up and tasered. Hero plows vehicle through a couple people looking to murder hero. Woman has knife to her throat and it draws a little blood. People beaten. Gunfights. High body count. Villain sacrifice 1 victim and intend to do the same to 2 others. Explosion. Helicopter fires at a speeding vehicle. No sex, but some of the foul language has crude sexual connotations. Upper male nudity when man covered in blood after apparently killing a bunch of people screams from a street corner and so ever. Alcohol use, no smoking or drug use, but a villain says he's a potential addict. And strong miscellaneous immorality includes villains have hired a team of mercenary killers to kidnap their primary political opponent so they can sacrifice... Wait, I gotta stretch my window here. Sacrifice her in a bizarre ritual. Mercenary killers...
Dear Lord.
God damn it, this is so long. Hold on, I'm almost done. They can sacrifice her in a bizarre ritual. Shoplifting, but rebuked. Kidnapping, revenge. Movie satirizes America, and young foreigners are murder tourists who've come to the U.S. just for the chance to murder people legally.
Wouldn't you?
My throat hurts. That was too
That
long.
is amazing.
Oh, they actually review. They have full on like a 2,000-word review.
Yikes.
Wow.
Did anybody cheer in your guys' theater? Because people didn't mind.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
we had some. I mean, we had a lot of people laughing, but nobody cheered.
Oh yeah, the C
People
word.
cheered, but it was always really half-hearted and awkward in the theater that I
Ew.
was in.
No,
Yeah.
I had like a person almost directly in front of me. That scene where they talk about where the people get run over by the truck, like they like threw up their arms and like screamed like yes.
Nice.
There was someone in the row behind me that I hope just had would clap when they were nervous or so every time that the head white supremacist guy, or not every time, but a couple times when he killed people, someone behind me clapped, but it wasn't very emphatic. I feel like they were just like trying to let off steam by clapping their hands together. I hope it was really awkward.
Yay, white
They didn't do it
supremacist
only when he
guy.
was killing people, so I assume it was like, oh, people are dying and I don't know how to respond.
Is he
But it
just-
was very uncomfortable.
Was he just clapping and looking around and being like, what, nobody else? Nobody?
I mean,
Right?
I would
Yeah,
say
it's
the
fine.
majority of the people in the theater that I was in were not white, so I would hope that that's not why he was clapping.
Am I the only
but it was
American in here? All right, guys, that's going to do it for Purge Anarchy. Would you recommend it in theaters, specifically Joe?
Yeah, I would say go for it.
Cece.
If you've got nothing else to see, sure.
Sophie.
No. I mean, I would maybe when it comes out if you really feel like you need it.
If you need to purge yourself, then yes.
If the idea of a bunch of teenagers riding around in a car covered in Christmas lights,
Screaming about a candy bar.
bumping Miley Cyrus, and getting ready to purge excites you, then I think you probably should watch this movie.
Right,
Because it's
right,
pretty,
exactly.
it's pretty batshit crazy.
You should also reconsider a lot of things.
Honestly,
if you fit into that category, here's the phone number
forget
you can
about
call.
honestly, I totally get Sophie's point. Like, forget about the girls and the lingering shots. When I heard "Party in the USA," I
I mean-
legit
Oh, yeah.
got really excited.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
please don't get me wrong. That Christmas light car was probably one of the coolest set pieces that I think I've seen in any of the Purge movies, and the music was great, and their costuming was great.
And I was legit
Yeah.
a little bummed when I realized it was just a cover of "Party in the
That's what I was
USA.
going to say. Wasn't it just a cover?
Yeah.
Somebody mentioned that in the email.
No, I thought it was. Was it actually a cover?
No,
I
it
thought
was
it
a
was a real
cover.
song. It was just like really
Listen.
slowed down.
I know that song like I know my soul. That was not the original song.
Wow.
Well, okay.
All right.
Maybe Miley Cyrus did not want to be a party to this film.
Yeah.
I can't imagine why. That's
The
gonna
Illuminati
do it.
kept her from actually giving her song.
That's gonna do it for Purge Anarchy. Let's take a quick break so that we can do some fan mail.
From the creator of Halloween and the star of The Exorcist, Linda Blair in Hell Night. Garth Manor, where the unseen, the unspeakable, hides its terror in cobwebbed corridors. Linda Blair, Vincent Van Patten, and Peter Barton in Hell Night. From Compass International, rated R, under 17, not admitted without parent.
Hi, my name is Quinn Lord, and I am from Trick or Treat, and you are listening to Bloody Good Horror.
Send your emails to info@bloodygoodhorror.com or hit us up on Twitter at BGHorror with the hashtag AskBGH. And don't forget to pick up back episodes of the show at podcast.bloodygoodhorror.com.
And we are back. I'm really excited. I forgot I saved all these Purge memes from the last time we reviewed a Purge movie, so I got some good stuff for the video here.
Hey.
Got some nice fan mail this week. info@bloodygoodhorror.com is the email address. First up, Richard. Have you ever had a situation in real life that reflected some kind of horror movie scenario? If so, what?
Um,
When my friend and I were driving home from the Blair Witch Project, a movie that scared me a good deal when I saw it in theater the first time, we were rounding a corner and there was like an enormous like buck, like male deer that was like, it looked like a moose. This thing was so big, like in the middle of the road, but it was on just a dark enough street where you could only see the silhouette and its like eyes were glowing. And I legit thought that like a minion of Satan had come to take us back to the motherland.
My family's house in Tennessee, I wholeheartedly believe is haunted, and my my brother and I used to be so terrified. My brother and I are 3 years apart, so I would always make him do everything since he was the youngest, and my mom needed us to go downstairs to, like, I don't know, get something, so I bribed him into going down the stairs, and I would keep watch at the top of the stairs, and he went downstairs and started screaming and was like so sure that he was being chased by some ghost thing that had like no teeth. And our house used to be a hospital in the 1800s, so I don't know. So I mean, it could or could not have happened, but I mean, several things like that I've experienced there, so I say it's happened. But that's about. Oh, I've had a lot of really weird things. I think I've seen aliens, but that could be a whole episode in and on itself.
Sure.
What? What was that?
Dude, I swear to God, in high school, I'll make this story really short. My friend, there were two other friends with me, and we were driving down, well, where I grew up is different from my like family house. My family house is in Tennessee, but the house I grew up in is in Georgia, but it's off this back road. And my friends and I were in this car, so there's three of us who saw it, started chasing this like super fast moving ball of light down these back roads until it just disappeared.
And sounds legit.
I mean,
what?
I wasn't alone. There were people with me.
What were you guys on?
Yeah. How much LSD had you ingested?
Smoking the reefer, Cece?
That was before. I was a little young for that, but
lysergic acid.
Yeah, I don't know.
And someone needs to make me some CC seeing aliens memes, like maybe a X-Files poster. I don't want to do your artwork for you, but you guys just give me some ideas. I would love to see
next time you guys have Evan on, you'll have to have him tell the story he told on the. Did he tell it on your podcast, Cece?
Yeah, I think he did.
Evan has a great story of a real life horror thing happening.
Yeah, and that was terrifying.
He also tells it like it's a totally normal thing to have happened, and it's really scary.
Right. Basically, like I won't give it away, but like he basically tried to stop some woman being like accosted or kidnapped or something, and acted like it was just a normal day.
Yikes!
Oh wait, I was talking about a different story.
Oh,
dear Lord!
I was talking about where somebody was hiding behind that woman's car, trying to like wait for her to come.
Yeah.
That was
no.
that's.
He's
I was talking about one with someone trying to get in his house.
Oh yeah, that was creepy too.
He's a
Yeah.
goddamn American
Evan's led an
hero.
exciting life.
He's a goddamn American hero, that Evan.
Seriously, he is.
I had a friend who we lived in Florida for a while, and we almost ended up in this apartment complex that when we were looking at it, they had alarms, and we're like, oh, cool. Like, so there's like a security system. The guy goes, no, but it's really loud. I was like, okay, so you guys feel the need to have alarms, but you're too cheap to actually have them do anything. And so later, our friend actually ended up moving there, and one night at like 2 a.m., she had two dudes with suits on, like looking like Men in Black type dudes, like banging on her door and like demanding to be let in. And she ended up like calling the cops, but was like totally freaked out about like leaving the house at night after that.
Yeah, don't blame her.
That's super bizarre.
Florida's weird, man. It's weird shit going on.
Florida is very strange.
Yeah, thank you for that. So next up, this is from Matt. Matt has wondering if we've ever considered like giving a general thumbs up or thumbs down before the review, because he kind of got out of the Southbound review and felt like, oh, I wish I didn't know about it now. What I will say is that if we all love a movie, like, holy shit, you have to see this, we will do that. We'll say like, just know you should probably watch it, but don't get spoiled, stop listening. I would say because we were all so middle of the road on Southbound that none of us really like thought to be like, oh, let's give a warning. So that's my thought on that. Joe, you have any thoughts on that?
I would say if you want to see them, just don't listen to the podcast.
Don't listen to the show until
just
you
don't
watch
ever.
it.
Just see what movie that we're talking about that week, and then just don't listen.
Well, listen at some point.
No. Just.
Also, a good rule of thumb that I use sometimes listening to your podcast when I haven't seen the movie is I will go to Bloody Good Horror first and see if there's a written review and just see where the number's at to get an idea of whether it's worth watching.
That's a bold idea.
Plug the site. No, but I actually
genius.
Next up. I think this is from Hayden. Living in Southeast Texas, I have a contender for most unbelievable thing in The Shallows, the ending. I'll try to avoid spoilers, but essentially the film shows us a beautiful Clearwater beach and the words Galveston, Texas. The words Galveston, that's a hard word to say, Galveston, Texas appear, and the entire audience bursts into laughter. Galveston is located on the coast where all the literal shit from the Gulf washes back up and constantly churns into itself, creating a cesspool that breeds flesh-eating bacteria and is frequently teeming with sea lice. Doesn't that sound fun?
That sucks.
The beaches of Galveston are notoriously gross. The water is consistently shit brown. And although technically the movie's ending does take place in 2017, so maybe it's just a hopeful view of the future.
I did see a lot of that.
Galveston, Texas is also where Robert Durst hacked up his neighbor and threw him in the water. So my sister was like, do you think she's going to find his head?
Man.
Oh, jeez.
Spoiler alerts for the Jinx.
So the Jinx, but have any of you guys ever seen the movie that came out before the Jinx that was based on all that?
All good things.
It's so
what's
good.
his name?
Right, Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, I did. I forgot that.
Kirsten Dunst, and
that
a
was
rare like dramatic turn from Nick Offerman. Like he's got a small role, but he's like it's really weird. He's got no mustache. It's so creepy.
Well, it's the same director. Do you all know that?
Okay, that's right, because that's how
he got the director to do the Jinx. He called him and was like,
yes.
I saw the movie you made about me, and I want you to make a documentary about me.
Yeah,
which is horrifying because he doesn't come off well in the movie.
Right, exactly. That's really bizarre.
But it's a really good movie. It's super creepy. It doesn't, it's kind of a difficult film, I might call it, because it doesn't give you answers because it doesn't have them, but it like asks a lot of questions, and Ryan Gosling is like really kind of chilling in it, and it's good. It's called All Good Things. And I actually really like Kirsten Dunst in it, who I'm not always a huge fan of.
Kirsten Dunst checks in.
Yep. Matt says, hey, BGH crew. Minnesota Matt here. First time emailing you guys, but I've been a long-time listener. It's been at least 6 years since I saw you guys at the last Horror Hound I was able to attend in Cincinnati. Ooh. For the past 4 years, I owe a great deal to all of you for giving me a lot of enjoyment after I decided to leave my job as a biochemical geneticist and go back to school to become a dentist. Sir, you are too smart to be listening to us. During the 4 years, I lived 80 miles from my wife and made the drive home on weekends after a long week working in people's mouths. I really looked forward to my Friday drive home and listening to the newest episode of BGH. Now that I finally graduated and earned my DDS and more importantly received my first earnings in that time, it's time to pay you back and finally join the Patreon campaign.
Oh.
Next week, I'm traveling to Boston for the first time to attend a dental conference. I'm staying at an Airbnb near Copley Square and hoping you can recommend some good places for cocktails and chow. Can't wait to start accessing the classics and relive some of those moments. I just wanted to say thank you. First of all, you sound smart, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's really awesome. I love stories like that. I really love the idea. Like, I listen to podcasts like that too, and I have my own like comfort food shows I listen to. So it's really cool that he feels that way. And thank you for being a patron. We appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
As for Boston, I actually don't know much of Copley Square. The thing about Boston is like it's hard to. I always say this when people ask. It's hard to find bad food. Like if you get a shitty meal in Boston, you fucked up somehow. But the only place I really ever recommend is near Fenway, which you could probably take a taxi to. It's called Sweet Cheeks, and it's like a Texas-style barbecue place run by someone who's on like the first or second season of Top Chef. Her name's Tiffany something. She's like the redhead. I don't know how many Top Chef fans here. It's like the best barbecue I've ever had, hands down, no contest. They make their own moonshine and desserts, and like it's incredible. It's called Sweet Cheeks. That's what I would check out. But like, throw a stone and find good food in Boston.
I've only visited Boston a few times, but the Gallows is on the south end, and it is awesome. It has a giant Ouija board on the wall, and it's kind of like this. It's a little bit of a dive, but it's a very cool place to hang out. So I don't know where Copley Square is in relation to South End.
Yeah, probably not super close. I mean, the nice thing is like even obviously a lot of Irish pubs, but even those places where you wouldn't expect the food to be great, it's like almost always
it's really
good.
awesome.
So,
yeah.
Word. So thanks.
Wicked good, eh?
Yeah, fackin'. That's from Matt. So thank you for that, Matt. Next up, Christopher. Happy 4th, America. Fuck yeah. Looking forward to your thoughts on election year. I liked it, like the trilogy, but thought the first two were better done. Anyway, the partner and I saw it on the 4th in the afternoon, so we could get home in time to comfort our explosive averse doggy. By the time the annual shit hit the fan, after the movie, we were shutting windows and closing blinds to shelter the puppy. It occurred to me that it felt like a Purge lockdown, battening down the hatches to endure another barrage of freedom. Thought back to the Pooch's Walk, seeing all the various American flag endorsements in yards, on poles, mini flags, giant flags on mailboxes, etc. Now wondering if maybe, just maybe, it's actually a non-participatory 99% out there waiting to be unshackled from this tyranny by a Hillary Clinton-esque senator played by Lost Juliet. P.S. Bloomhouse, apparently it's actually pronounced Blumhouse, not Bloomhouse, according to Mr. Blum's intro for Amazon rental. I refuse to say that. And then he also attached a Surge soda commercial from 1997 for some reason. So.
Ooh. I like that.
Yeah, sir, I'm into it. Surge.
Isn't Surge out again now? You can get it again.
They released it recently.
Yeah, I think so.
It just makes me think of American Movie, which is only something you'd know if you've watched American Movie like 400 times like I have. So anyway, info@bloodygoodhorror.com is the email address. Yeah, we used to do that on St. Patrick's Day in Boston because like I lived in a college town. So literally it was like get inside before a certain time, batten down the hatches, and wait the night out. Joe, we're also on Twitter @BG Horror with the hashtag AskBGH. I'd like to check out BGH Classics too, if we can.
Oh yeah, we can do that. But let's do the other one first because I don't have that one up.
That's okay.
Apologies if I am starting or if I miss whatever the last one was, but I think we're starting from here. That doesn't make sense. First one from @NerdyJock86. Would you guys like to see a midnight movie show come back like Monster Vision when it was on TNT?
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of do that on the internet now. There's a lot of like horror hosty type people who do that stuff online. Not that any of it's something I want to watch, but I think that may be past its time. Like that worked because you still had monoculture. Like you couldn't the movies were terrible most of the time. they were hacked and edited to shit. Like they were in a state that you'd never really want to watch them in, except you watch them for Joe Bob.
Yeah.
Like in the days of the internet and so much choice, like I just think that its time is gone. You know, I don't see how you recreate that experience.
Yeah, I agree.
You know,
I mean, there are
you
still like we have
discovered
one
it
here.
because it was the only thing there, and then you were like, oh, this is actually kind of amazing.
There are like local ones. Like I forget what the one here in Chicago is.
There's a guy named like Wolfman Jack or something that gets syndicated to a lot of places. Svengoolie.
Sven
We have a
Gully,
lot-
that's the one here.
We
Yeah.
have a lot of like live action stuff. I mean,
But
we have
unfortunately, movie rights are so expensive now that those places will only play like public domain shit from the 40s and 50s, and that stuff's like super unwatchable.
Yep.
What were you saying, Cece? Sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying. Yeah, I mean, we don't have anything too similar. I mean, we do like, there's a few like live action or like Rocky Horror Picture stuff that like smaller indie theaters do in Atlanta, which are always really popular. But we don't have anything.
There's a
exactly
national
like that.
There's a national station that like syndicates out called This. So like it's like This Boston or something out here, but I've seen it in other places, and they do like on Sunday night they have that Wolfman dude or whatever. But it's just unwatchable movies, just so bad.
For real. Next up, at that baseball Joe. Would love to know if you guys got the Bad Moms trailer and a weird Kevin Hart trailer in between horror trailers before the
Yes.
Purge.
Yep, I gotta say I'm
Yeah.
way in on Bad Moms. I think it actually looks really
Oh
funny.
yeah, for sure.
Well, I like all three of them.
All I could think during Kevin Hart's like huge comedy concert trailer was like, are these jokes? Like he wasn't really making jokes. Like is he the modern day Dane Cook of comedy?
Like I couldn't understand if like it was an actual movie. Like at first where he plays a comedian.
It
like,
looks it looks like a concert film with some dumb wraparound story. You know what I mean?
I'll 100% see it. Don't get me wrong, but
I wasn't into the comedy. I mean, I guess I've never really heard his stand up. I've just seen
Oh,
him
I
in
mean, I
trailers.
like Kevin Hart. I mean, I would watch it, but I also just enjoy anything that he says.
I mean, I guess I got to give props to like short guy making
he
dough.
is a tiny little man.
Making funny.
But that's
I mean,
my
it looks like an intriguing idea at the very least.
but
to, like,
that's
show
where
a
my
concert that way or a comedy special that way.
that's where my Dane Cook comparison comes in, Cece. Though, is it funny because of what he's saying or how he's saying it?
Does it matter?
I was gonna
It
say, I mean,
might.
it's still funny, so I'm not sure. I mean, Dane Cook was funny to me in his time. Now looking back, probably not, but I don't know.
I'll have to watch a Kevin Hart special and report back.
Okay.
But yes,
I'll
we
try.
all.
Your facial expression when I said that was very disappointing.
But yes, we all got the same odd mix of
like,
trailers before
I'm
this.
not sure.
Yeah. Next up, I am gonna butcher every word in this. At mi corazón, mi amor.
Ooh, Butcher, that was
Monica.
amazing.
Yeah. Next installment of The Purge, El Marajano Definito. The mixed babies of America, building a wall using the bodies of the 1%.
Wow, I like
Yeah,
that.
there's a lot going on there.
Joe, your Spanish is exquisite. What are you talking about?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
That's incredible.
I don't know if that was an actual question, but I still think it was fun. At Chupacabro7.
Nice.
Are you guys excited for the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, Leatherface? It'll probably suck like the last one.
I haven't seen anything for it.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything for it either.
Yeah, I
That
didn't
was the
realize.
first time I heard
Also,
about it.
I went back to Twitter last week and I typed in Chupacabra 1 through 6, and none of them exist. So he just
What?
the number 7 is important to him, I guess.
Oh.
Hmm.
At NerdyJock86, did anyone else laugh a little too hard at Bubba Gump's fried chicken joke in The Purge?
A lot of other people in my theater did.
Had I realized he was Bubba Gump, I might have.
Yeah, that guy had so many weird one-liners, and I loved every
He
minute
was so
of it.
mad.
I was gonna say I'm gonna start using Good Night Blue Cheese all the time.
Favorite.
Good night, blue
Literally,
cheese.
he said it twice, and the first time he said it, I made a point to take out my phone and write that down because I loved it so much. I'm like, I do not want to
amazing.
forget this.
Next time you're
And then he had it at the end just to drive it
Yeah.
home for
next
you.
time you're shouting at your daughter, just whip that one out.
Good night, blue cheese. At
Game
dude
over, man.
Bianco, I would purge the shit out of a camera film supply shop.
Yeah, I asked people last week to tweet us what they would steal.
Oh, I assume, yeah, we got a few folks. So maybe we can do these and then say what we would do. Unless you guys did that last week.
We did, but if you guys have
We did.
thoughts, I'm in.
All right. Next up from @Francis MPLS. How many times has Schnars seen Hamilton?
That's where he is tonight. He went to Bohemian Grove and then he went to Hamilton.
Yeah.
I gotta imagine Hamilton is too mainstream for him. Like that's and another one from Francis MPLS. Serious question: where do the flammable liquid come from when she shot the shark with the flame gun? In the shallows.
It seemed to me that they were suggesting that the leaked whale blubber, because they showed like an oil slick coming off the whale.
Oh, that'll do it.
And that was flammable. It's
Okay.
kind of subtle. You would have had to notice the slick, but she does kind of look at it at one point.
All right. Next up.
I played Dishonored, and their entire energy system is based around the burning of whale blubber, so I believe that's fact.
Well, yeah, that was Days of Yorn. Isn't that what they used in lamps?
Yeah. Sure. The Eskimos and stuff, yeah.
I don't know. That's not even a joke. I really
No, I
think
know.
that's-
You're right. Yeah,
I mean, you're right.
You're right.
@Topher Grace 84. I would loot baby formula and other baby related items because shit's expensive.
Yeah.
That's 100% true.
Apparently that actually happens a lot in like riot situations.
Oh yeah.
Sad.
One from our good friend @Sir Shelton John. What is the entire executive branch of government was made up of horror icons? I think Candyman would be a great HUD secretary.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, I agree.
That might be the only one that has that good of a connection to something, but yeah.
All right. @DeathRabbit3K. Are you guys doing Swiss Army Man, Daniel Radcliffe as a bloated farting corpse with a boner? What else do you need?
Maybe that sounds like something that might end up on Sophistical, but we haven't like hammered out the schedule for that yet.
Yeah. And I think it's not wide, so I think we'd have trouble seeing it, but I would totally be down when it comes out on DVD.
It's out in Delaware now.
I was gonna say I think it's coming to Atlanta too.
Yeah, it's playing in like one theater here in Chicago.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I think it might be at our like art cinema.
@Robel. Does Schnars cancel Purge insurance for a living? Such a 1%er move.
It totally is.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, and he likes to make those calls personally the day before the purge too. Like he doesn't, he doesn't let his underlings do it.
A few more here from @Crummy Anyone else jonesing for an Uncle Sam remake after seeing The Purge?
Sure. Yeah, that movie is the worst. It is so bad.
It's pretty bad.
It's got a sweet lenticular VHS cover, though. I will say that.
@Dejard. Who would win, Hillary Clinton with a sledgehammer, Misery style, or a human centipede of Trump's?
I mean, Hillary Clinton as in Misery is terrifying, but the thought of a human centipede of Trump is just like it's too much to comprehend.
Trump feels like he's already a human centipede.
It kind of does.
I would think that might literally just murder you, just the sight of him as a human centipede.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough to watch. Next up, @Nick Almo Scott. He had two that kind of tie in together. Outside the U.S., what country would you not want to be in for the Purge? And then he also asked, what would be a good international location for a Purge movie?
I'm going to say Rio, because Rio already sounds like a Purge is happening right now before the Olympics. So,
yeah,
I mean,
I would say any
probably-
sort of like those drug lord countries.
Yeah.
Like, that just seems frightening. Like they seem like hell on earth to begin with. Like I can't imagine what it would be like if it was just open season.
I mean, you probably want to be somewhere like Switzerland with like a calm peoples,
Oh, yeah.
happy populace. Iceland, maybe.
Yeah, Norway, because I think there's like one person every 200 miles.
And it's cold. Like you definitely don't want to be in a hot place because heat encourages people to go outside.
Yeah.
Like that's why
You
Florida.
go to Antarctica because the penguins aren't going to get you.
That's partially why Florida's so
true.
crazy, because the heat makes you nuts and you can be outside all the time.
Get your bath salts. And then where do you guys think would be a good location?
I mean, I kind of feel like it's this same. I wouldn't want to be in any of those locations because I feel like the Purge would be pretty intense.
Yeah.
I don't know. Australia might be kind of crazy because, I mean, I know Australia is a continent and a country, but they've got some weird stuff going on out there.
I think it would have been funny to see Aussie Purge tourists.
Yeah.
I feel like it would just be Wolf Creek, but really, really, really intense.
Ooh. Speaking of, at DeJard sent in another one. You guys seen the Wolf Creek TV series? Only 6 episodes, but well worth a watch.
No, I've not.
Yeah, me either. So good times. All right, 3 more here. At Trapper John 1210. I love that. That's good stuff. Anyone else find the 2 candy stealing schoolgirls super annoying?
Yeah, the acting wasn't great. I think that was part of it.
Yeah, I gotta imagine everyone did. Another one from at mi corazón, mi amor. How drunk is Cece?
Look, I limited myself to the glass that I came in with, so I mean, my eyes are only kind of squinty, so I don't think that I'm that drunk.
Yeah, I mean, I could hear it in her voice last time.
Oh yeah,
so she's fine.
Slurred.
I went back and I was trying to listen to that episode, and I was like, "Oh my god, I can't do this."
It was fine.
People's Exhibit A.
Listen, all of us have done this show belligerently drunk at least once, so myself included, and I'm the host, so don't worry about it.
More times than not.
Yeah.
And then last up from at Stouto114, best third movie in a horror series. I was thinking Season of the Witch.
Not bad. I like that season. I'm sure there's something.
I feel like I would have need to have thought about this.
Day of the Dead.
I need to read these before the show.
It's Day of the Dead. That's the answer.
Oh yeah, that's not a bad one.
In fact, I think I like Day better than Dawn.
Yeah, I'd agree. I definitely do. I'm not a huge Dawn fan.
Kind of drags too much. It's like too much of them running around the mall like dummies. Yeah. It's fine. I don't mind Dawn. I just like Day better.
All right, we got some BGH classics too. Stop me if you guys have done these already, and I just missed it. At Third Breath, we didn't even see Uncle Touchy's Puzzle Basement. Casey, episode 242, Last Exorcism Part 2.
We did that last week.
All right. How about this one? At Francis MPLES, it was mostly a Canadian film. It was Canadian 90s, so it was the 80s. Eric BGH for Nightbreed.
Nice. Thank myself for that one.
At DeJard, wait, how does he get it? Wait, let me see. Wait, how does he get it out of the vagina? Evan for Purge Anarchy.
I do not recall what that was about.
I have no idea what that's about, but okay.
Next up from at Robel. Well, this is a good one. Episode 190, The Birth of the Bates Roll.
Oh, nice. Yay. I requested somebody find that for me. Episode 190. Very nice.
And then we got one, and this is wait, what is this? Hopefully this is from at 40 Ounce Heroes. Hopefully enough time has passed. And somebody apparently did a YouTube video of all of our Snapchats from Mark's wedding.
Oh, what?
Oh,
yeah. That's crazy.
I will retweet the shit out of this.
That's really creepy.
You guys should definitely check it out. It was a good time. And we should actually mention the Snapchat too. I think you guys talked about the dentist who's been listening to us. We actually got I think his name is Ghostface Killer on Snapchat. This guy, he's like stationed over in Belgium, and started like sending us messages like that were like helping him like get through his tour over there.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
And just like got home like last week. It's awesome. Like we actually kind of emailed back and forth and stuff. So, and it's awesome to hear that sort of stuff. But
yeah,
if you guys are on Snapchat, we're BG Horror.
Yeah, at BG Horror.
However that works. And then one other BG.
Joe, I gotta say, I'm impressed. Like you're killing it. You seem to know how it works and everything. So
yeah,
don't sell yourself short there, buddy.
Last one from at Baseball Joe. God damn it, buddy! If you're not going to get an erection, I will find someone that will. Apparently, that was me from the Under the Skin episode.
Nice.
Oh yeah, we were talking about that dude and his like creepy limp wiener when he's like walking into the sludge abyss. Do you remember? Do you recall that conversation?
I do.
Yeah.
I'm sure it happened.
It's all coming back to me now.
Yeah.
Lots of limp peen in that movie.
Yeah.
Limp peen.
So yeah, that's it.
Awesome.
Good times.
That, of course, is the hashtag BGH Classics. We are also on the Ask BGH hashtag at BG Horror on Twitter. info@bloodygoodhorror.com. for feedback, and patreon.com/bloodygoodhorror. You can find out how you can get all the back episodes of the show that way. On a Google Drive, you can get access to the pre-show streaming video live every week when we record. You get some merch when you sign up for that. Kind of a nice little deal to get you extra Bloody Good Horror if that's a thing you so desire. Do we know what's next week? Like, is next week?
We don't have anything in the theaters next week.
Yeah, so maybe we'll do Independence Day. I don't know. I mean, holler at us if you like that idea, or if you'd rather we move on, do something else. I think we're open to discussion on that point. So,
and then the weekend after the 15th, we have Ghostbusters.
Real quick, Cece, how does somebody find the book club?
Go to Goodreads.com and search for the Bloody Good Horror group, and we're there.
And Sophie, the tweet with BGH stuff.
The drinking game will go live on bloodygoodhorror.com tomorrow, and we will be watching Killer Mermaids on Netflix at 8 p.m. on Sunday, this coming Sunday. Follow the hashtag tweetwithbgh.
Delightful. Thank you for that. All right, guys, that's going to do it for the Purge Anarchy. Hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll talk to you next week.
Oh, God, we have no idea who goes first now.
I was figuring it was
See you later.
Bye.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye-bye.